We welcome you back. We're at the Overlook at Bryant Park, just behind the New York Public Library. We got ice skating going on, and we got the commissioner of the Big Ten with us, South Orange, New Jersey native, back home. What's it like when you come back for a Big Ten event?
Well, it's very familiar territory for me. I grew up across the river in Newark and South Orange, went to high school at St. Benedict's Prep. My father played in the old Garden. You know, I played in the new Garden. So it's great to see Big Ten teams not only in the region, but teams from historic Big Ten playing in the Garden and Yankee Stadium now on a regular basis.
Right. And I was at the Pinstripe Bowl this year. I mean, that's a fantastic event. It really is amazing the aura that New York City has. And I think, you know, until you're here, until you're at an event, walking into the Garden last year, I thought was phenomenal. It was amazing to think we were going to witness a Big Ten basketball game there.
Well, you know, we said a number of years ago that we wanted to be part of this community. It's a great part of the country. It's got a great sports tradition. It's got great universities in the footprint. We have 3 of those. And over time, we just wanted to give our athletes and students a chance to play here, to compete here, and to really interact with our fans and build new fan base.
So what have you learned in these first couple years, having an office here and having some events? Of course, we're going to have the Big Ten basketball tournament here next year as well. What have you learned about having a presence in this market that maybe we didn't know about beforehand?
I mean, I think it's we've been fortunate because we got BTN distribution right away. We've had 3 very good college football games at Yankee Stadium. Last year's Super Saturday at the Garden was a great success. I think tomorrow will be a lot of fun. And so, you know, piece by piece, little bit by little bit, you know, I think we're starting to build a presence. This year, as you know, our men's tournament is in D.C. Next year, we'll be at Madison Square Garden. Albeit playing a week early, but I think our coaches and athletes, students will be excited about it. And, you know, it's a process. It's not happening overnight. But what is really interesting to me is how many Big Ten alums and Big Ten fans there are in this region and how much they appreciate an opportunity to see their teams play, whether it's this event or Yankee Stadium or just in the regular season game. And so it's exciting to see the build.
It was amazing last year walking up on the concourse at MSG, and it was, you know, Penn State fans, Michigan fans were having reunions up there. I mean, you saw friends that hadn't seen each other in a long time.
What I saw, a lot of 3-generation families.
Yes.
I saw some, you know, grade school kids with their parents who are in their 40s, with their parents, you know, who are in their 60s, and having that family feel, which is so much part of the Big Ten history and tradition, that generation after generation after generation not only attend, but support their institution. And to see that happen, not in a Big Ten tournament game, but in a special set of games that we've set up here in hockey and basketball. And, you know, it's gratifying to see it. It's gratifying, I know, this year with Northwestern, last year with Indiana, the year before with Penn State, how successful the football game was in December at Yankee Stadium. So I think that this is truly one of the great cities, not only in this country, but in the world. And for our students to come here and compete, whether it's on Off-Broadway or whether it's at the house that Ruth built that is one removed from the house that Ruth built, I think those are unique, once in a lifetime, and truly not only competitive experiences, but educational ones.
Yeah, it is amazing. And, of course, there's so many Big Ten alums, and we're talking about such huge universities. 6 million alums worldwide. And so, look, this is the epicenter of the country, and there are a ton of Big Ten alums up and down the Eastern Seaboard, and you see it when you have events like this. So give us a sense of going forward here, how you decide who's going to participate in this, because I know it's been set now through, I think, 2019 for the MSG event.
It's a 4-year hockey, basketball, doubleheader. We actually rely on our schools to volunteer. I didn't know exactly who would want to play, but we had Michigan and Penn State in year 1 in both sports, and this year we've got 3 new institutions in Wisconsin, Rutgers, and Ohio State. Set for next year. We're looking for a hockey team for 2019, so we're going to get a good grouping of schools. And then we'll assess, you know, because people have to give up a home game. It's got to be fair. It's got to be have value for the participants, but we're very pleased with what's happened so far. And I think probably after this year we'll sit down and talk to our athletic directors and coaches and see how they feel about it. But I think in terms of getting off to the right foot in this market and introducing our schools to great venues, I think it's been very successful.
I know Ohio State, Minnesota for basketball next year, Illinois and Maryland the year after. So a lot to look forward to there. Give us a sense of how you feel about where Big Ten hockey is right now. I mean, hockey is the second part of this doubleheader.
We have 3 teams in the top 13, I think. We have 2 in the top 10. And, you know, certainly Penn State has come a long way in a short period of time. We've got a lot of new coaches coming into the league. And I think that for those players, like our basketball players, to be able to play at Madison Square Garden is a real tremendous opportunity. BTN as well as ESPN provided great coverage. But we do have 3 teams in the top 12, so not only great league play, and as you know, next year Notre Dame is coming in as a hockey-only member, replicating what Johns Hopkins has done in men's and women's lacrosse. So what you see happening to some extent is as conferences expand into 2 regions, and you have sports which are not sponsored by all 14 or all 12, in order to create better regional competition, more opportunities against peer institutions in that footprint, we've been able to grow out a member in hockey and a member in 2 teams at Hopkins in men's and women's lacrosse. So you're seeing that happen, and we're going to be conservative about that, but where it makes sense for us, we'll do it.
I wanted to ask you about a couple NCAA things that have come down. Well, let's talk about the early signing period for football. I know this is something that the Big Ten had advocated and believes in. Give people a sense of why this is a positive thing.
Well, we haven't had a lot of comprehensive change in football recruitment in a long time, yet the world has changed. It's really a national environment. Everyone ranks the classes nationally, and then they rank them at the end of the year, and then they rank, and then all the television games are national. So you need a national system that works across region. Most conferences are in multiple regions. Okay, so we really felt most young people are going to college, visit the college campus they're going to go to during their junior year.
Before the university can pay for them to take an official visit.
Exactly. Right. And so what we wanted to do was to look at creating a comprehensive set of adjustments that are balanced and that made sense on a national basis. So there will be some early visitation in the new proposal. There'll be some early signing, not as early as some wanted, but earlier than the February date. There'll be some controls over camps, not total prohibition, but some controls over camps. And there'll be some tried and true ways of making sure that the high school environment stays vibrant in terms of their coaches' engagement, high school coaches' engagement in the recruiting process, in the camp process. So it's making some progress through the system. It's not an easy system to navigate. I would tell you that I think Sean Eichhorst at Nebraska has done a nice job working with his colleagues at the Football Oversight Committee. Bob Bowlesby has put a lot of time and effort. Jim Phillips as chair of the NCAA Council. And our coaches in particular have really weighed in. We've had almost monthly meetings with them for the last 6 or 8 months. So we had a good idea of where they were. American football coaches had some viewpoints that were taken into consideration. So it really is a consensus, comprehensive set of proposals that I hope become law in April. And I think they'll serve not only FBS, but FCS, and I think in particular serve the young people who are trying to make the best decisions on where they want to go to school and play college football.
Something a little less transformative than that, but that came out last week that I thought is really interesting is this notion of the transparency in the NCAA basketball selection process and having a televised show next month where you're going to know who the top 16 are. This notion of being more transparent at the NCAA level. Give me a sense of why you think that's important.
Well, as you know this, David, as interest grows and after interest grows, it's necessary that there's some tension and some criticism. So I think that the NCAA figured out first, probably a decade or so ago, to invite the media and invite participants, coaches, into a mock bracketing. That was very successful.
It was incredible. Having sat through it, it was incredible. It was as illuminating a day as you can be a part of.
Really successful.
Right.
And then I think the College Football Playoff Committee adopted a similar tactic. And I think that also, educated and laid out there what the system was. You can have 12 or 13 jurors, and they can do it their own way, but at least the process is clear. The College Football Playoff Committee used the early rankings to stimulate some interest. Now, it's interesting the Division I Men's Basketball Committee is going to borrow that tactic, transparency, to, I think, stimulate some interest. I think somebody made a good point. They said, well, wouldn't it be better if they would talk more about the bubble teams and less about the top 16? But it's a first step. The other thing that they're doing at the request of the coaches, which I think is a good one, is we established the RPI 25 years ago. And it was probably a good in its day. It's probably not, it's probably more blunt than it needs to be. And so they brought in some of the best analytics people who are close to the sport to develop, maybe one or even two additional metrics. So I think it's really good. I think Dan Gavin has provided great leadership. Mark Hollis, likewise. They're both innovative guys, very close to the sport. And I think the things that they're doing will be viewed as in very positive ways.
I agree with you 100%, especially on the metric part of it. There's so many better metrics out there right now. If you're going to use a metric, why not try to figure out what's a better way of doing it? And again, look, all these things evolve. And the selection committee is evolving.
And still, the committee members who are going to make the decision, you have the input, and then, each person judges. It's a little bit of a beauty contest, what you use, what you don't. I think what's pretty clear is the coach and the public does not want a computer-only generated outcome. So we get really a blue ribbon jury, lots of integrity, lots of experience, and arm them with the best analytics that are available.
Quickly, before I let you go, what do you make of the basketball season?
Ours?
At this point? Yes.
Well, in my 25 years, it's one of the most unique groupings of competitive parity I've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
I think we have a couple teams that could certainly play their way deep into the tournament. But I don't think I've ever seen more teams in the top 50, 55 in the country in one conference. Very young, a lot of young players, a lot of great coaches. I think in the first 16 or 18 games, it was 8-8, home and away.
Right.
So home courts are not inviolate. The players, I think, don't know, the coaches don't know, and the fans don't know from game to game. And so that makes it great in that way. We have, I think, 10, 11 conference games left, so I think it's going to be a great month of February. I expect everybody will be watching and hoping that their teams, there's no one out, there's no one in.
Well, the announcers don't know either. I'll tell you that. It makes it fun to call a game when you really have no idea whatsoever how it's going to come out. Jim Delany, Commissioner of the Big Ten. As always, thanks, Jim, and what a great day once again for the Big Ten Conference. Jim Delany. As we continue.